Imagine showing up for class, finding your seat, opening your laptop to look up your school, and you find out that decades ago, this same building served a completely different purpose. Not a school, not a college, not an office, a hospital, and not just any hospital. A place where surgeries were performed, where lives were saved, where families received good news, and sometimes devastating news. And somewhere on that same campus, there was once a morgue. Now, imagine being a student and finding that out after you've already been attending school there for months. Because this isn't an urban legend, it's a real story. And it happened in North Carolina. Today we're looking at one of the most unusual school transformations in America. The North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics in Durham, a highly respected public residential school known for educating some of the state's brightest students. But before students filled the dorms, before science labs, before graduation ceremonies, this campus served a completely different mission. For decades, it was known as Watts Hospital. And once you see how dramatically this place changed over time, you'll never look at schools the same way again. The story starts in the early 1900s, at a time when modern medicine looked very different from what we know today. Hospitals weren't massive healthcare systems, medical technology was limited, and communities depended heavily on local institutions. That's where Watts Hospital comes in. Opened in 1908, Watts Hospital became one of Durham's most important medical facilities. Patients arrived seeking treatment. You doctors built careers there. Nurses cared for generations of families. And over the decades, thousands of people would pass through its doors. Some came in for routine care. Others arrived during some of the most difficult moments of their lives. For Durham residents, this wasn't just another building. It was a place tied directly to the community's health and survival. At that point, nobody could have imagined that one day students would be living and studying there. As the hospital expanded, the campus developed into a small world of its own. Patient rooms, operating areas, administrative offices, support buildings. Everything was designed around healthcare. Think about that for a moment. The hallways students walk today were originally built for doctors, nurses, patients, and hospital staff. The rooms had entirely different purposes. The conversations were entirely different. The daily routines were entirely different. And yet, the physical structures remained. That's what makes places like this so fascinating. Buildings often outlive the purpose they were originally built for. And eventually, that's exactly what happened here. By the 1970s, healthcare needs were evolving. Newer facilities were being developed. Medical technology was advancing rapidly. And the old hospital campus faced an uncertain future. Many historic buildings disappeared during moments like this. Demolished, abandoned, forgotten. But this campus took a different path. Instead of disappearing, it was given a second life, a completely unexpected one: education. State leaders eventually selected the site for what would become the North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics, a school focused on developing talented students from across the state. And suddenly, a place once dedicated to healing patients became dedicated to educating future scientists, engineers, researchers, and innovators. This is where the story becomes genuinely hard to picture. Former hospital spaces had to be reimagined. Patient areas became student spaces. Hospital facilities were converted into educational facilities. Dormitories emerged where medical activity once took place. And yes, parts of the former hospital infrastructure included areas associated with functions most people would never expect to find connected to a school, including a former morgue facility on the historic hospital campus. That's usually the moment people stop and say, "Wait, seriously? Seriously?" Because when a place survives long enough, history layers itself on top of history. The building doesn't know it's changing identities. People change, generations change, the purpose changes, but the structure remains. Today, students arrive on campus focused on their future: advanced academics, research opportunities, college preparation, friendships, dorm life. The normal experiences you'd expect from a competitive residential high school. Most aren't thinking about the thousands of patients who occupied the same grounds decades earlier. Most aren't imagining doctors rushing through hallways, or nurses working long shifts, or families waiting anxiously for updates. But all of that happened here. The campus carries those stories whether people realize it or not. And that's what makes this place unique. It's not just a school, it's multiple generations of history sharing the same location. The strangest part of this story isn't that a hospital became a school. It's how easily history hides in plain sight. Students walk these grounds every day. Many may never know what stood here before, yet the evidence is all around them. A campus that once focused on saving lives now focuses on shaping futures. And honestly, that's one of the most remarkable transformations we've found so far. Because sometimes the most interesting school stories aren't about what happened inside the classrooms. They're about what existed there long before the first class ever began. And the next school we uncovered might have an even stranger history hiding beneath the surface.